Downtown San Francisco, Whole Foods closing a year after opening. Some crazy stuff you got going on in San Francisco. This is not shocking. This is not surprising. This is kind of exactly what we've been predicting, exactly what we've been talking about. But so much lately that I've been covering has been like, Walmart and CVS and Walgreens closing some stores, right? But oftentimes they will say, it didn't meet our corporate expectations for productivity, for profitability, just didn't sell as much as we needed to. Whole Foods comes right out in this bad boy and says, yeah, we'll consider reopening this store, which we just opened up a year ago, March of 2022. We'll consider reopening when our employees are considered safe. When's that going to be? At the rate San Fran is going, the rate Portland is going, this could be a long, long time, right? Because what's it going to take to turn around? Let's get into it. Let's talk about it. Let's see what's going on with Whole Foods in downtown San Fran. Here we go. Yeah, so many of the other podcasts I've done, it did not meet our corporate expectations of profitability. When damn well it's just a whole bunch of shoplifters on top of all this other stuff going on, right? On top. You got layers upon layers upon layers. And in these cities, you've already got a retail apocalypse going on, right? Just because the way we shop now. But grocery stores, that's the go-to for those that are addicted to drugs, looking to score their next whatever for drugs. And Whole Foods, I was talking with somebody the other day. I was kind of explaining why I like to go to Trader Joe's and why I don't go to Whole Foods. Because Whole Foods, it's not even really on my radar, right? Of shopping. It's just so expensive. If you're into Whole Foods, you got money to burn. I'm not there yet. And the stuff at Whole Foods, it just doesn't really, I don't need to have whatever that exotic, whatever it is, in my life. Trader Joe's, I get like two choices. Yeah, I'll take that one that's slightly healthier. Maybe I'll take the organic variety. Give me that one and I'm out the door. Whole Foods, whole paycheck, different drill, right? One of the largest supermarkets in downtown San Francisco, the Whole Foods Market at 8th and Market Streets, intends to shut down at the close of business Monday, just a little more than a year after the store opened, company officials told The Standard. So this store is located just to the south of the Tenderloin. Okay. So it's, what is it? Maybe a mile and a half, maybe a mile and a quarter, a mile and a half from the waterfront, from like Fisherman's Wharf. It's kind of almost due south of there, but it's close to the Tenderloin. It's in the Tenderloin-ish, maybe just on the outskirts, just to the south. It's not far from Nancy Pelosi's house, right? We had that guy, that whole Polly P deal, right? That was just some nutty stuff. We are closing our Trinity location only for the time being, a Whole Foods spokesperson said in a statement. If we feel we can ensure the safety of our team members in the store, we will evaluate a reopening of our Trinity location. When do you think that might be? Exactly when is the tide going to turn on crime, drug addiction, just the craziness going on in San Fran? When is that going to turn? Not anytime soon. And that's why I think the store spokesperson is like, hey, we'd love to keep this store open and we will reopen it. This is just a temporary thing, because when you open up a Whole Foods store only a year ago, there's only so many explanations that you can give to spin why you're closing it. So then you just, they're almost with 1 year in, they are basically forced to tell the truth, which is people are doing some wacky stuff in our store. Our store employees, our store customers are not safe. You got literal nut jobs. You got addicts doing crazy stuff. You got shoplifting happening all day long. You've got security out the behind, and yet you're still not able to make it go, right? And they're going to go with, all right, yeah, if we can ensure the safety of our team, we'll reopen this store. So, when's that going to be? I don't see any time soon. because you're going to have to deal with the drug addicts. You're going to have to deal with the mentally ill, and you're going to have to deal with the mentally ill that are on drugs, that whole homeless deal. I mean, you've just got a built-in element to this area of the Tenderloin. I mean, you've got open air drug markets. I mean, that's, Tenderloin is kind of where it's been. So, what was Whole Foods thinking when they opened this bad boy? I don't know. It's not that bad. It's okay. And then, good Lord, we got to close this bad boy down. A City Hall source told The Standard, the newspaper I'm reading this from, the company cited deteriorating street conditions around drug use and crime near the grocery store as a reason for its closure. Good. I am so glad. I am so happy that somebody was forced to tell the truth, because all of those Walmarts, we knew damn well what the deal was, right? We knew damn well what the deal was. They were operating those stores that were being closed down in environments where you've got all kinds of policy where shoplifting is just okay. You got homeless people running around, and that whole combination just makes it where a store can't be profitable or be safe. And I don't know about the profitability of Whole Foods. We don't really get into that because it's just not really part of the storyline. But the storyline is all based on, it's not safe because you got some serious nut jobs. I posted one the other day. I think maybe it was last night. It was a dude without a shirt on, obviously crazy and homeless, whatever, no shoes on. And he's on top in Oakland. He's on top of one of those old school light signals where you've got, I think the green on top, amber in the middle, and red at the bottom, or, whatever that is. It's up probably about 10 feet tall, and the lights are stacked like 4 feet. He's up on top of that. He's climbed up the pole in his bare feet, and he is kicking the light signals, the old school light signals, off of their mounting brackets on the signal pole. I mean, what do you got going there? But that's Oakland, right? You expect that in Oakland. Actually, you expect this stuff in San Francisco as well. So progressive. We got so much progress that Whole Foods is shutting down a year in. Now, a lot of the stores that I've covered, big corporate, Walmart or, Walgreens, whatever, Safeway, have been able to say, you know what, well, the optimized store is this size. This store is this size. Therefore, we're closing it down. Or, hey, this is an old building. We want to retrofit this so that we can, have greater profitability and have less of our stuff walking out the front door. So many of those were giving us explanations. But this store is already basically brand new. It was optimized exactly the way they want it. They just put it in a location that has utter chaos going on. We are not far from the Bob Lee, the tech executive who was just stabbed. All kinds of rumors on that. People are saying, it was a suicide, self-inflicted suicide. People are saying it was a hit job. I don't know. All I know is I saw footage of that guy, and I released that podcast this morning, so you can check that out here on this channel. But you've got that guy, getting taken out. You've got the former fire chief, San Francisco fire chief. I think it was his mom was yelling at a bunch of homeless people out in front of his house. And mom got no action. So the former fire chief, San Francisco fire chief, walks down to the street, from his front porch, wherever, to where these group of homeless people were, and tells them hey, you got to go. You got to move. You can't be doing drugs right in front of my house. And they beat the crap out of him, one with a metal pipe. And you're just, just going to pound town on this dude. This is all roughly in the same area. I mean, it's downtown-ish San Francisco. So, these are not surprising storylines. When you've got a company like Whole Foods, who some might say, they're a little bit woke. They've gone down that woke, get broke type deal. Well, here we are, right? Here we are. Since the start of the pandemic, downtown has suffered a massive loss in foot traffic due to remote work. Many small businesses have shuttered, with examples of extreme poverty Drug use and mental illness on the street have become more apparent. You know, when I read extreme poverty, I think, well, yeah, when you don't have a job and you're not creating income and you're spending all of your money on drugs, you're going to be in extreme poverty. You know, you're not working, you're not contributing towards society. You are just an extreme suck on the sources that taxpayers pay for, that we pay for. But, you know, folks in San Francisco, this is the stuff they voted in. So you can't feel too sorry, right? So we got the extreme poverty, we got drug use, mental illness on the street. They've become more apparent. Fears of a doom loop, and I've been talking more and more about that, in which a cascade of negative financial impacts compound have spread across the city, and City Hall officials currently expect a nearly $800 million deficit in San Francisco's budget. So $800 million deficit. So what you've got is you've got lack of funds coming in, lack of taxable business coming into the city, and you've got a massive, massive shortfall. And that shortfall is only going to get worse, because what you're going to have is in one of my next podcasts is you're starting to see the very beginning of some of the big commercial projects getting turned back to their lenders. They're basically saying, hey, you know what? We've got this project in the works. It's a 44-story skyscraper type deal, you know, mid skyscraper type deal. But the location it's at, and with where rents are, and with what's going on with commercial, yeah, here you go. Here's a deed in lieu of foreclosure. We're going to give this bad boy back because we don't want to take this thing any further. This could bury us. We're going to hop out now. We're going to, you know, bankrupt that corporation, whatever it is. So you are literally on the cusp of that type of thing happening right now. So you've got projects that are in the works that have been, you know, maybe 2017, 2018 to 2023. Okay. You got 5-6 years in there, you know, pretty typical development cycle. Now maybe they'll start building. Well, I think you're going to see a bunch that are going to say, given the projected, you know, business cycle that we're looking at in San Francisco, particularly for commercial. I'm not necessarily talking about residential. I'm talking about commercial. That market is at about 30% vacancy rate, probably about to go to 40, because you don't have all these businesses that are occupying all this space. And you've got a massive amount of subleases, companies that come in, they take down, you know, 5 million square feet, whatever it is, 1 million square feet, whatever it is. San Francisco is big. It's got, you know, massive commercial area. So you've got this area where people have taken a lot of square footage and then they sublease it out if they don't need it. Maybe at the beginning of the pandemic, they're like, well, we'll just ride this out for a couple of years, but we don't need this space. We'll take on a bunch of subleases. There's so much square footage that sublease they're going to not renew. So you're going to have even more commercial space hit the market. So you got this doom cycle. And then as more and more of these companies are not in downtown, that are not occupying this commercial office space, you've got fewer and fewer people walking around for all these other businesses like a Whole Foods. And so you've got this never ending doom cycle they're talking about. And a lot of these banks that finance this kind of commercial stuff, they are regional mid-sized banks that could take a real whack if the commercial market goes sideways. And that is what a lot of folks are talking about. Not residential, we're talking about commercial, because that's who finances these banks. And they finances these projects. It's basically mid-sized regional banks, right? So it's not like housing, single family housing, where you've got Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac as, you know, a liquidity factor on the back end where you can sell mortgages to them all day long. They'll package them up and, you know, make them into securities, even if they have a couple of tranches that, yeah, that's the good stuff. That's not the good stuff. What happened there? And that's, you know, the essence of The Big Short. So meanwhile, we've got an $800 million deficit in San Francisco's budget. But some knuckleheads are saying, hey, we need to be giving out $5 million in reparations to each individual that qualifies. You know, and it's into the billions. Meanwhile, they've already got an $800 million deficit, soon to go to $1 billion. Going to have $1 billion deficit in San Francisco. Now, you might say, flip side, since we're reasonable here, is that, hey, a lot of other cities in Republican-run towns are going to be in the same situation because we had this whole remote, work thing. Yes, and that is true. But most of those cities, you don't hear me recording podcasts on an endless number of Walmarts closing down. Like in Portland, where they closed down the last 2 Walmarts inside city limits. That's a damn big town. 750,000 people. It's shy of 750,000 people. I think it's 675,000 people. But they've got plenty of Walmarts in the periphery, but not in incorporated Portland. So, in other towns, you might have some, unoccupied, you might have vacancy in the commercial, but you don't have all the craziness that you've got going on in these liberal run, Democrat run cities like a Portland, like an LA, like a San Fran, like a Seattle, because Seattle is kind of, San Fran light. And so Seattle's been a little bit different. They've been a little bit more proactive, and their occupancy in downtown is much higher than San Francisco or Portland. San Francisco and Portland are probably the 2 worst commercial markets out there right now, with the exception of, I think there was like a Cincinnati in there, just, devastated due to the economy or whatever. But, so one idea recently floated to confront the crisis. Now, we're not going to actually deal with the real crisis here. We're going to talk about converting some stuff, is converting vacant downtown office space into thousands of units of student housing. How's that grab you? Student housing. That's going to pull us right out of this little glut we got going on here, right? No, that's what university are you going to get? Hey, why don't you bring your university into downtown San Francisco? I mean, yeah, Whole Foods just left. Safeway just left. And all kinds of other businesses that are leaving. Yeah, people are getting stabbed. People are getting shot. Photographers are getting their camera equipment stolen. Babies are eating fentanyl. This is all happening in San Francisco. Those are all podcasts I have done. But, just ignore that. Ignore that storyline. Bring your university into downtown San Francisco. It's going to be good. I mean, your female demographic, 18 to 22 years old, I'm sure they'll be just fine in downtown San Fran. The drug addicts and with the psycho nut jobs, and then the psycho nut jobs that are on drugs. I mean, you can't go wrong with having your daughter here at our school. Send her this way. Send your son this way. Let's not be sexist, right? I mean, okay. So this is literally the plan, converting vacant downtown office space into thousands of units of student housing. Okay. Some of the thoughts that go through my mind there are, well, yeah, students don't have any money. Students don't spend much money. You need legit businesses bringing in their tax revenue, not a school. Yeah, but hey, this is the idea of the moment, so it's what we're going to go with. The beleaguered grocery store on Market Street slashed its operating hours due to high theft and hostile visitors in October of last year, according to one of the store's managers. And in November, the store enforced new bathroom rules after syringes and pipes were found in the restrooms. Shocking. I know you're shocked. All right, so let's just go take a quickie peek at that. Downtown San Francisco Whole Foods slashes store hours due to the high theft and hostile people. Who are the hostile people? Just angry people. Downtown San Francisco Whole Foods Market slashed its operating hours. All right, so it went 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Grocery store that closes at 7 p.m. That tells you something. But that is also one of the last steps that they take. All right, cut the hours. Let's see if we don't have the store open later at night, less of the natives come out and just bash our windows and do all that craziness. It's better to serve our customers, and it's more or less because of the area and security issues, said the store's manager. Brutal honesty. Thank you. Who asked to remain anonymous. Okay, you were kind of a wiener there, but I get it. Don't tell anybody that I told you, but hey, There's some crime going on in San Francisco. There's some drugs going on. Combination of the two, not good for business. There's just high theft and people being hostile, is what this article goes on to say. The store has a large security presence with at least 3 guards at any given time, but it apparently hadn't been enough to limit incidents of theft. I've got so much security, we're spending more on security than any other store, I would imagine, the manager said. Whole Foods spokesperson Alyssa Patterson said in a statement that the mid-market location adjusted its schedule to focus on serving our customers during the most in-demand hours and to have them closed during the most dangerous of the hours where all their incidents take place because people get hopped up on drugs. And when it gets dark, all bets are off, right? Because everybody they want to do their criminality in the dark. All right. So the market takes up 64,737 square feet. Now, that's decent size. That's pretty good size for a grocery store. That's big. And the company called the mid-market neighborhood location its flagship store in a press release announcing the supermarket's opening in March of 2022. How did they not look at this location and go, yeah, maybe we should ease back on that? Who thought, you know what? It's going to be fine. We'll just open this bad boy up. Yeah, we're close to the Tenderloin, but it's going to be all good. Who had that genius idea? I'd like to see them explain that to corporate. Now, you were a big proponent of opening this store up. Would you mind telling us why again? Why this location was, just a stellar idea to open up a new store? It was probably in the pipeline for a number of years and things have just gotten worse, right? They've just gotten worse. Alan Maya, an organizer at the nearby Housing Rights Committee, said that she regularly gets lunch at the Trinity Whole Foods locations and shops at the market for groceries twice a week. All right. What grabs your attention there? What comes to your mind there? You're at the Housing Rights Committee. You're an organizer, the Housing Rights Committee, and you shop for groceries twice a week and you eat lunch there at Whole Foods, at Whole Paycheck. Yeah, don't even get me started, right? They just barely opened up, Maya said. I hope they open again. Well, everybody hopes they open again, but management has basically said, we ain't opening until this is a little bit safer. And I think that could be a long time because, brutal honesty, you need some more cops, right? You need more cops. You need to take a hard stance on the drug issues and the addiction issues. Okay. You need to take a hard stance on the mentally ill. Okay. You need to take a hard stance on the homeless, just living wherever, crapping on the streets. I mean, San Francisco, we were joking in the premiere this morning that was about Bob Lee, the tech executive that got murdered by stabbing in San Francisco. And, he's just, the whole thing is just horrible. But this is not shocking. This is not surprising, is it? This is what you get when you bring these factors together and you say, it's okay. Do all the drugs you want. Hey, it's okay. We're going to, decriminalize drugs and all that criminal activity you used to do and you actually did time for. Yeah, not so much. Misdemeanors for days, right? Just going to give you a misdemeanor. It'll be good. So it's literally encouraged this whole cycle of shoplifting and, smashing up stores and breaking into stores. And it's created this endless cycle of what LA is saying, San Francisco is saying, Seattle is saying. I mean, you've got residents just up in arms, but this is the stuff that they voted in. And I think we're going to have a run here, folks. I think we're going to have a run and we're going to be able to sit and go, oh yeah, that one's closed. Shocking. I wonder why. That one too? That real estate development's getting given back to its lender. Oh, its lender is going bankrupt because it had 7 projects and didn't have the reserves to make this, go with what they're taking back in the form of deed in lieu of foreclosure or straight up foreclosure. Yeah, we're going to have to take back your project in downtown San Fran. Ooh, that's not good. So I've seen security run into the store. This is the gal who shops at Whole Paycheck twice a week for groceries and eats lunch there as well. I've seen security run into the store real quick before, like something happened, she said. Something did happen. You had something just, Something that you would consider weird and unusual in most normal towns, but in San Fran, it'd just be like, guy came in with a sword and he's, threatening other customers. And then he went to the bakery and held up his sword and said, give me that cinnamon roll or off with your head. Just crazy stuff that goes on with people who are literally, mentally not there. And then you throw some drugs on top of that, because we all know drugs near this Whole Food store are plentiful. The Tenderloin open air drug market. Now they say it's been cleaned up. Yeah. That stuff doesn't get cleaned up when you got a city full of addicts like San Francisco, right? It just moves around. You're just playing that whack-a-mole with where the crime goes. So hours before the store's scheduled closure on Monday, much of the market's aisles were still full of food and other goods for sale. Workers continued to line shelves with Whole Foods standbys, including organic cereal and probiotic drinks. It's the probiotic drinks and it's all that stuff. If you drink those, good for you. Organic cereal, yeah, I'm okay with that. But it's when you've got a whole store that is just dedicated to that kind of thing. I'm like, and then everything else normal is just really expensive. Hence the whole paycheck, right? Multiple staff members, including the store's manager, declined to comment. Yeah, we're not going to say much. We've already said enough. We've already said, hey, we ain't coming back until this store gets a little bit safer. When's that going to be? That could be forever, right? That could be forever, because you've basically already done what you could, which was you tried to take security and make the store safe. That's about all you can do. That's about all you can do. And until you get the streets cleaned up a little bit more and a little bit more safe, what's the point of opening up if you're going to open you're going to open up corporate to the liability of having some crazy homeless dude do something really nutty and, impact a bunch of people, impact one of your employees, because we've already seen the incidents happen. We already know what's going on. This is already happening. This is not new news. Supervisor Matt Dorsey, whose district includes the Whole Foods market, said he was incredibly disappointed by the store's shutdown in a Twitter thread posted Monday afternoon. I'm incredibly disappointed, but sadly unsurprised, by the temporary closure of Mid-Market's Whole Foods. Temporary closure. What do you think? What do you think the time period this store is going to be closed? I think it's going to be closed for years. I really do. Because if this is what they're saying, unless they're working something behind the scenes that they're not telling us about, this is what we're doing. If the story they're giving us, which is this is a security issue, this is keeping their personnel safe, keeping their customers somewhat safe. If that's the issue, then technically, until this kind of gets squared away in San Francisco, which could be years and may never get squared away like people would hope it would. But, markets go in cycles, but with the leadership you've got in San Fran, leadership you've got in Portland, leadership you've got in LA, what would you expect? Do you expect a big, you get a few hundred more cops in the pipeline and you're all good? Doesn't do anything about the drug addicts running around, doesn't do anything about drug addicts stealing stuff, selling stuff, drug dealers, all of that, which works together to create an atmosphere, to create an economic, situation where you just can't run a store. Dorsey announced he will introduce new legislation with Supervisor Catherine Stefani to amend the city charter and get the police department fully staffed within 5 years. So is this a situation? Are you going to post a cop outside of this one store 24/7? Is that what you're going to do? You going to do that? You going to do that for all the stores? You look at a map, there are stores all over in this area. No lie. I looked at it. Lots of stores. So you can't really do that. You've got to start addressing the root causes of what you've got going on that is creating, welcome to the decline. Enjoy the decline that's creating that decline. You gotta get ahead of that. I don't see that happening anytime soon. Earlier this month, the Standard reported that the department was down 335 offers. We're talking about San Francisco police since 2017, and its staffing level of 1,537 officers fell well short of its goal of having 2,100 members on the force. Because you defunded the police. And now you're like, oh, God, yeah, now, yeah, we're going to do an amendment. We need to get some more cops up in this bad boy. We need to get some more cops. How's that defund the police thing working out? How's that working out? I really enjoy covering these topics because for me, this isn't one of those things where, you have to kind of guess and you have to make some assumptions to get from point A to point B as far as this type of action happened. Here's your end result. What we've got going on here is that you've got policy. You've got Democrat policy, liberal policy creating this situation. And here you are. Whole Foods is being forced to close up temporarily. Is that kind of like inflation was temporary? Is it like that or double that time period or way longer than that? I think it's way longer than that. Because you're going to have to put some people in jail. You're going to have to put some people in treatment. You're going to have to put some people in the psych ward. I don't see San Francisco doing any of that anytime soon. Therefore, my prediction is Whole Foods will temporarily be closed for years. Flip side is I'm going to have podcasts for you guys for years as well. All right. Love to have you subscribe. Hit the like button if you like this video. Hit the notification bell. You do that one right after you subscribe. Because then down the road, when I talk about Whole Foods not opening up in San Francisco, you get notified. Thanks so much for being here. I'll catch up with you in the next one. Bye for now.